We often assume animals act out of nothing more than instinct, like they're pre-programmed robots carrying out survival scripts. Birds build nests, lions hunt, bees pollinate. It feels automatic, mechanical, predictable. But what if I told you this view leaves out a much richer, more astonishing reality? What if animals are not just instinct-driven, but capable of complex thought, problem-solving, memory, even self-awareness? Today, we're going to challenge the myth of dumb instinct and dive into a world where animals prove time and time again that intelligence is not uniquely human. Think about crows. For years, we thought their cawing and tool use were just clever tricks of evolution. But experiments have shown something far deeper. Crows have demonstrated the ability to solve multi-step puzzles, some involving as many as 8 different stages to reach a reward. They can remember human faces, hold grudges, and even teach other crows about potential threats. In one experiment, researchers designed a puzzle where crows had to drop stones into a water-filled tube to raise the water level and retrieve floating food. This problem is strikingly similar to Aesop's fable of the thirsty crow, and the birds solved it. They weren't copying behavior or operating on instinct alone. They were reasoning, planning, and adapting. And then there are octopuses. With no bones, 3 hearts, and neurons spread not just in their brains but throughout their arms, octopuses are like aliens living among us. In labs, they've been seen unscrewing jars, sneaking out of tanks, and even learning how to open latches designed to keep them in. Some researchers believe octopuses display a kind of problem-solving intelligence that rivals small mammals. One famous case involved an octopus repeatedly squirting water at a light in the lab that it seemed to find annoying, deliberately short-circuiting it. That's not instinct. That's initiative. Elephants take us into the realm of emotional intelligence. They're known for their memory, yes, but also for their empathy. They comfort each other, grieve their dead, and even show signs of understanding mortality. In the wild, elephants have been observed lingering around the bones of deceased elephants, gently touching them with their trunks. In captivity, they've been seen shedding tears and making attempts to console distressed companions. One experiment placed mirrors in front of elephants, and unlike many animals who fail the so-called mirror test, elephants used the reflection to inspect marks on their own bodies. That level of self-recognition suggests an awareness of self that goes beyond instinct. Now, let's move closer to home. Dogs and cats, our companions, are often underestimated too. Dogs, for instance, have been shown to understand hundreds of human words. Border collies in particular have been documented recognizing the names of hundreds of objects, remembering them for months, and retrieving the correct one on command. But it doesn't stop at word recognition. Dogs can read human gestures, track eye movement, and even detect emotions in our voices and faces. Cats, often dismissed as aloof, also show problem-solving skills. They can learn to open doors, manipulate objects to get what they want, and some studies suggest they understand cause and effect better than we give them credit for. If we go underwater again, dolphins offer some of the most compelling evidence of complex cognition. They use tools, like sponges to protect their snouts while foraging on the ocean floor. They demonstrate cultural transmission, passing learned behaviors down through generations. Dolphins even have unique signature whistles, a kind of name, that allows them to call out to one another. What's more, they passed the mirror test too, showing they recognize themselves. And their playful behavior, like blowing bubble rings and playing catch with them, suggests not only intelligence but creativity and joy. Even insects, often considered the simplest of creatures, surprise us. Bees, for example, can communicate complex information through their waggle dance, conveying the direction and distance of food sources to hive mates. In recent studies, bees have shown the ability to learn abstract concepts like same and different. They can be trained to distinguish between colors and shapes, and then apply those concepts to novel situations. For a creature with a brain the size of a sesame seed, that is astonishing. Parrots also give us incredible examples of intelligence. Alex, the African gray parrot studied by Irene Pepperberg, could identify shapes, colors, and even express desires. He could say, "I want a banana," or "I want to go back," using words in meaningful contexts. His abilities blurred the line between mimicry and comprehension, proving that parrots aren't just echoing sounds, they're processing and understanding. Let's not forget primates. Chimpanzees and bonobos, our closest relatives, display tool use, cooperation, and even deception. In controlled experiments, chimps have shown the ability to use symbols, solve problems with insight, and demonstrate planning. They've been observed in the wild using sticks to fish for termites, crafting spears to hunt smaller animals, and cracking nuts with rocks. In social settings, they've been caught hiding food from others or misleading group members to gain advantage, tactics that require more than instinct, they require strategy. But what does this all mean? Why is animal intelligence important? It challenges us to rethink our place in the natural world. For centuries, humans assumed superiority based on our capacity for thought, language, and culture. Yet across the animal kingdom, evidence shows parallel forms of intelligence adapted to specific environments and survival needs. It may not look exactly like ours, but that doesn't make it less valid. A crow's ability to solve puzzles, a dolphin's cultural knowledge, an elephant's empathy, these are all legitimate forms of intelligence. It also raises ethical questions. If animals are capable of thought, memory, problem-solving, even self-awareness, how should we treat them? Should their intelligence influence conservation efforts, captivity conditions, or even our dietary choices? Recognizing intelligence in other species forces us to confront uncomfortable questions about responsibility and respect. Another layer to this is adaptability. Intelligence in animals often arises not from abstract thought alone, but from the need to adapt to challenges. Octopuses solve puzzles because their environment demands creativity for survival. Elephants remember waterholes across hundreds of miles because drought requires it. Dogs learn to read humans because partnership with us has shaped their evolution. Intelligence is not about fitting into a human-defined box, it's about thriving in the challenges of life, whatever form that takes. Perhaps the most humbling thought is this: our definition of intelligence may still be too narrow. We measure animals by how closely they resemble us, tool use, language, self-recognition. But what if there are forms of intelligence we can't even perceive? Whales communicating across oceans through song, migratory birds navigating thousands of miles with precision, bats processing echoes to form a three-dimensional map of their world. These aren't lesser intelligences. They're specialized forms of brilliance perfectly tuned to their lives. So next time you see a crow perched on a lamppost, or your dog tilting its head at your words, or even a bee buzzing past, remember this: you're witnessing a mind at work. Not just instinct, not just mimicry, but genuine thought and awareness. The animal kingdom is not filled with mindless machines, it's alive with creativity, memory, problem-solving, and even emotion. In the end, realizing this might be the biggest step in human intelligence too, the ability to recognize and respect the intelligence of others, even when it doesn't look like ours. Because the more we look, the clearer it becomes, the world is not a stage where humans are the only thinkers. It's a vast, interconnected web of minds, each one finding its own way to survive, adapt, and thrive. And that realization, perhaps, is the most intelligent thing we can learn. If you find this video informative, please hit the like button, subscribe this channel and feel free to share your comments.